Hey, we're going to talk a little bit about setting up a database in Neon. And hopefully you've already created an account and a free project. Your free account should come with one free project. I called mine Prime. You can call yours anything you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to click into that project and I have no databases. There's none to choose from here in the dropdown. If I go to my tables, there's nothing. So I'm going to come back here to the dashboard, and instead of selecting a database from this dropdown, I'm going to do create new. You can call it anything you want. It doesn't have to be named the same as the database on your local computer that your local code was talking to. You might want to name it the same thing for consistency, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to call it my production database. And create. Awesome. All right, as long as it says the right database name, pooled connection is checked, and this says connection string. This is the snippet I need to copy for my environmental variable for Heroku in order to connect to this. But right now it's an empty database. It has a name, but it has no tables, no columns, no anything. If I come down to tables, and again, if you have more than one database, make sure you're looking at the right one. I look at my production database. There's no tables in my database. So I'm going to come to SQL Editor. I'm going to explain this screen. Any SQL you've run before, you'll get kind of like a history here. There's also a saved option where you can save queries. Now, I've used this account for lots of demos, so my history's full, even though I had deleted everything in it. The upper portion here is where you write SQL, and in the bottom, you see the results. So I need to create a database here in Neon that matches the database on my computer. Fortunately, there should be one-stop shopping for that. Now, if you've been keeping this file up as you've been building, you should be able to just copy and paste it. If you've been tweaking your database in PostgreSQL without updating this file, you might need to make some tweaks. I'm going to grab mine, and I'm going to paste it in here. And now I'm going to save this, one, so I can reference it later, and two, in case something goes wrong and I need to try multiple attempts. I'm going to call this the setup queries for, I'm just going to call it setup, not be too verbose. And let's see, I called this my production database. And now you can see it shows up in our saved. It's not in our history yet. And now I'm going to run it. Before I do, this is one area where this is different than PostgreSQL. When I click run, it's not just going to run the one query that I'm clicked into. It's going to run all the queries in this file. So I'm going to have two run. I'm going to have this that creates a table and this that populates it. Run. Boom. I can see I connected to the database and I ran two queries, and the results were create and insert. I can click on these to get more details. The details are basically it worked or didn't. In other words, if you don't see errors here for any of these, you're good to go. But it's always nice to head down to my tables and check. There you go. We have our user table with its columns and its data. Now that my database is set up in in Neon, I just need to connect it to Heroku. There's a whole nother video for it, but this is the string I would grab. And actually, once I've grabbed this string, I want to show something cool. You can also throw it into a browser. And when you do that, you're going to get this little pop-up. Open PostgreSQL. Do I want PostgreSQL to handle this? It turns out PostgreSQL is going to handle any of these URL links for a PostgreSQL. When I do that, and PostgreSQL opens, I am now connected to my production database, which is really cool. If I disconnect, I can see now it's added this entry and it gave it a funky name. I'm going to go here and I'm going to give it a nickname. Production. My production database. And I like to make my production ones red too, just so there's no confusion. So if I connect here and I delete user 3 and I save my changes, and then I head back to Neon, and I go down to my table, I can see user 3 is gone. You don't have to hook your production database up to PostgreSQL. In fact, depending on how loosey-goosey you are, you might not want to. It might be too tempting to play with it. But it's an option there, which can be really helpful for troubleshooting. All right, that's setting up Neon in a nutshell. Thanks.